How's it going? Today is 19th of December, Thursday, and we're gonna be taking a look at a market. Some of the developments, some of the perhaps important pieces of information. We'll try to cover it, or do our best, I guess, and take a look at some important information. First article that would be OpenAI whistleblower found unalive himself in a San Francisco apartment. Uh, that would be young individual potentially. That's definitely too young. Perhaps there's a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and currently there might be still investigation going on, right? Once that been said, that would be perhaps some work related matters, perhaps what he was working on. A former OpenAI researcher known as whistleblower have blockbuster artificial intelligence company facing a swell of lawsuits over its business model has died, authorities confirmed this week. Let's keep names and perhaps there is ongoing investigation, by the way, so we don't know all the details, right? And I haven't read this article before. But perhaps we can take a look at entire subject, and there might be people who would have a lot of concerns, right? When it comes to, I'm not entirely sure about the business model, but perhaps the way how artificial intelligence and or legal system perhaps as of now would be used when it comes to copyright, right? I thought it might be worth highlighting some of the important parts, in particular when it comes to copyright. And people can express their views when it comes to the subject. That would be Intellectual Property Office, IPO, the Department of Culture, Media, and Sports, and Department for Science, Innovation, and Technology. Sure. Lunch consultation of copyright or artificial intelligence. That would be people will be able to express their views when it comes to copyright and or perhaps some of the work, how it would be used. There might be some limitations. It might be just UK perhaps. But that would be people and we're giving that opportunity to voice their concerns of how perhaps some of the work. That subject is very complicated, and as of now, it's a massive mess. And this consultation is a mess itself, but at least there's something right. Since initial phases haven't been taken compared to other governments, well, if we are addressing UK, and that will be recorded information where people would be given a chance to express how current situation is evolving, as well as what actions governments are doing, if they doing government actions are being done on purpose incorrectly or not on purpose. Perhaps there's a people and someone would be, if not right now in the future, if the records would be kept, would be those people would be held accountable when it comes to government and how government will be handling and or responding to this consultation, right? Briefly, right? Since that's the Christmas, everyone should be more positive, but there might be a lot of things happening, right? So while it's important, there's so many information up there that has already been covered, including the UK calls for Israel to stop illegal settlement expansion for Palestinian land. UK statement for National Security Council, right? As well as when it comes to some of the restriction and or social media and the way how data will be handled, I don't think that the way how this article will be presented and all that, I haven't read it, but I already know that there is going to be a massive mess. A bunch of landmines, quote unquote, right? That will be how some of the social media the giants restrict the news in Palestinian territories. Not to say, I would say, since there's might be a lot of shadow banning or additional measures that could be taken to some individuals, not necessarily. If we're starting talking about restrictions, those limitations perhaps would be applied in wider communities and how some people would be labeled in particular way. So there might be a lot of things happening. Just to keep people informed, right, of what's happening and all how social media is functioning as of now, right? Let's progress and let's take a look at perhaps more positive things. Let's take a look at something that will be very important, in particular, if we are taking a look at a future, right? That will be perhaps I haven't read this article. Perhaps this particular article, if they taking better steps compared to perhaps previous articles that we were taking a look at. That would be what academia can do when it comes to guiding people to better direction. That would be Sheffield's Engineering Center of Excellence opened its doors for cared for children with specific event at the Clattermore Engineering and Robotics Hub. I have read robotics. I thought it's very important. Since previously we were taking a look at potentially some of the developments, right, and some of the work that could be done, and how living standards can be improved, and robotics automation that will be very important, right? Uh, that's great. There's so many articles, very, very important articles. Just tend to perhaps balance things out with some positive news as well, right? Just before we're gonna be taking a look at the next article, perhaps it's worth taking a look at some of the time stamps. Again, I don't know if this information is accurate. It's something that I was taking a look at previously when it comes to fusion energy. Who was the person who have discovered it? It was collective work, and who was researchers who have done a lot of work on fusion energy production. And if it's impossible for any other business to pursue fusion energy, it's my personal understanding would be very unlikely that anyone else would be able to pursue, since a lot of work might be protected under a lot of systems, right? Since a lot of work might be protected, I perhaps it might be very risky and no costly when it comes to fusion energy, right? I don't know if this information that was given to me. I don't know if this information is accurate, right? Let's take a look at article that would be IBM, SDFC, and UKAEA collaborate on the fusion energy design. So that's what I mean. I don't know if it's impossible, but anyway. So there's some people are trying, right? which is great, I guess. Heritage Center and IBM have partnered to collaborate on design future experimental fusion power plant. It could be very expensive. There are some projects who are looking at a large scale facility where energy could be produced, but it's very hard to pursue, and it could be costly, as well as perhaps when it comes to artificial intelligence and design, there might be some improvements that could be made. But anyway, public sector entities and the United Kingdom Atomic Energy Authority and our Science and Technology Facilities Council, Heritage Center, have partnered with technology pioneers. Again, I prefer not to promote any of those companies, but anyway, energy would be very important. So that's kind of great work that they're doing. But anyway, IBM is working to design future experimental fusion power plants. UKIEA, the UK's national organization that is responsible for research and development fusion energy, will provide program requirements, domain expertise, and all selected data from its YEET and all MAT-U machines. Again, it's good that they're trying to do it. IBM is a pioneer of high performance computers, artificial intelligence, AI, and quantum technologies, together with SDFC Heritage Center, renowned for its heritage in making high performance computers, extreme scale AI, and all other digital solutions accessible in industry and all public sector, will bring unparalleled design expertise in the partnership. The collaborative would leverage IBM and all SDFC expertise in AI alongside UKS data and all modeling capabilities to create foundation models capable of learning and all fundamental dynamics of experimental fusion data. The partnership is bringing together fusion science and OER experts for the three organizations and aim to drive transformation breakthroughs in applying AI to fusion power plant design and experimental facility operations. It's great what they're doing. Let's stop there. Let's progress and let's take a look at the next article. Again, it might be very hard, as well as there might be a lot of people who have invested a lot in this sector, and it might be limitations of what others can do to pursue the same technology, right? Let's take a look at the next article. Let's take a look at the next article after this 69 billion, massive amount, billion, to support councils and will help deliver a plan for change. Provisional local government finance settlement published today will provide 69 billion, which is massive amount. Okay. To councils across the country, something that we published yesterday. Provisional local government finance settlement to provide 69 billion overall for councils across the country. Councils in England to see on average a 3.5 real terms increase in core spending powers with 2 billion additional grant funding for 25-26, including 700 million top up announced today, 600 million throughout the new recovery grant to help support places most in need. As part of this, 3.9 billion will be made available to social care and authorities throughout settlement or straighten community care, invest in prevention and or give children the best start in life. Sure, as part of the plan for change to rebuild Britain, we are fixing the foundations of local government. This particular, all the statements are great. This particular statement will be very important, and I see value of investing 69 billion in this statement. Other statements, I guess it's important as well, but anyway, fundamentally reforming how councils are funded to make better use of public money. Great. Overhauling the local audit system and all, protecting local taxpayers from excessive council tax increases. I don't know about this part, but last part. But overall, great that what government is doing, right? Relatively 69 billion is funding will be injected into councils' budgets across England to help them drive forward the government's plan for change throughout investment and reform to fix the foundations of local government. Ministers have announced today, Wednesday, 18th of December, a provisional government funding finance settlement will provide 69 billion, I guess, for council across the country, a real-time increase of 3.5% from 24-25, which includes a new emergency 60 million recovery grant, offering better value for money throughout the purposing the grant to help support councils most in need and or maximize every penny of public spending for ensure delivery for working people. So that would be a target, right? How well this particular target would be executed is to be delivered. It will be a completely different story. So idea is great, but and over 3.7 billion is of funding will be made available to social care authorities to support adult and all children service throughout the settlement. This includes a 680 million for social care grant and increase 200 million compared to what was indicated last month, taking its total of 5.9 billion, which will support councils to deliver care for adults and all children in their communities, helping reduce pressures on NHS. Okay. I don't know, usually that's where a lot of initiatives could be. I don't know. I never received any of these finances. I don't know how well it's been delivered. It's a waste, or I don't understand this part. But anyway, no council is perhaps indirectly. Perhaps I have received some of those finances indirectly. But anyway, I don't know. Perhaps we need to look after the most vulnerable of our communities. But again, I don't know. The council will see a reduction of core spending powers. Places will significantly rule a population with, on average, received around 5% increase in their core spending powers to ensure rural communities have the support they need. Usually there would be, for example, there would be one initiative launch for rural communities, and there might be 400 businesses competing for 50,000. And this opportunity would be given based on some of the conditions within the contract, and those conditions would be, just to mention the one, if you already had taken part and you have done something with that particular organization, or some limitations where the money would be handed just the same friends, quote unquote, right? So that's where perhaps a lot of feedback could come from. But anyway, we maintain the provisional government referendum threshold for council tax, which will be maintained 3%, which to of adult social care perception protected for local taxpayers, I guess. if we were to read entire document, everyone would fall asleep. We already losing hundreds and hundreds of people going too much into detail, right? Anyway, with that in mind, perhaps what we can, um hopefully in the future, hopefully we can see more of reduction in or smaller government, right? 20% of current size of the government, and how we can achieve that. Would that be software? Would that be some of the systems that could be introduced? And more transparency from government, more transparency and smaller government, and or at least cost of the government. Perhaps some people are interested in doing unpaid work, right? And those people might be more motivated compared to some of the people perhaps taking some of the positions right now where they're not delivering for they're saying working people, but so what those people are doing, they're not working, quote unquote. That's where this information leads to, right? Once that has been said, further information that way, further details on all above include allocation for individual councils, and all consultation documents can be found provisional local government finance settlement page 25-26. The government is consulting on funding reform from 26-27 can be found here. Core spending powers is a measure of the resources available for local authorities to fund service delivered. It I don't know. Even this part is debatable, since the government tend to create problems where problems are not need to be created, and those funds would be wasted. Just this part, and there might be some consultations happening. So it's such a mess, by the way. It says money has been made available to councils throughout the local government financial settlement. Provisional local government's financial settlement include total funding package worth 69 billion funding for councils in England in 25-26, including a new 600 million recovery grant for areas most in need. Sure. 680 million uplift for social care grant, a new 250 million childcare social care or prevention grant, which will be uplifted at the final settlement to 263 million. The government confirms it will provide 550 million of funding at the final local government financial settlement to support the local government meet the increased cost of direct employed staff arising from change of employment national insurance contract. Oh, okay. So government have increased of their own operational cost, which is always good, but have government have reduced staff needed to operate the government, which they tend not to do, right? Let's progress and let's close. This video is gonna be too long. Let's close on the last article, right? What we are reading are such important documents and such a massive sums of money, and perhaps for many people it will be hard to wrap their head around some of this concept. But that's where things should move. If not right now, perhaps in the future, you yourself or you might be interested in understanding better how government would function. To make things more interesting, perhaps we can touch on tanks or the military equipment. I guess. Something that we published 2 days ago that Lithuania pushes Leopard A2A8 tank acquisition under new government. Okay, it's how many different tanks are available, or Europe might have on the different standards when it comes to manufacturing. Would that be perhaps 24 different models or so? Perhaps a little bit less than 24. So that would be having parts to repair, have all personnel that will be trained. All this would be very important, and having those kind of capabilities, right? Once that been said, so under what standard Lithuania interested in operating, based on who gonna be manufacturing those tanks, right? That's the second point. Perhaps those tanks would be manufactured in most likely in Germany, right? But they might have some software technology that might be from UK, by the way. So if that would be a standard and all the personnel would trade against the standard, would Lithuania would have any say when it comes to having access to some of the technology, or they would only purchase hardware, which later they won't have capabilities to repair? So, quick note, right? Anyway, that really was for Poland. 4 days after She was sworn into office, Lithuania defense minister. Let's keep names. Signed the agreement to purchase 44 Leopards 2AA tanks during her December 16 official visit to Germany. I don't know if I hope this lady understands strategy. She has some military background and she understands engineering. I hope that since there might be a lot of things happening, right, where people purchasing one tank just by weight, what is it, 24 tons of metal? How much of that metal would cost? Massive amount. Over the course of her visit to Berlin, let's keep names, met with the Germany counterpart, Boris Pistorius. Okay, that's sounds like a serious guy, but anyway, with whom she discussed issues related to two countries' defense cooperation, which includes the heavy maneuver brigade of 4,800 personnel that have German armed forces. The let's keep names. My relocation names is to deploy in Lithuania next year. I thought it's 5,000, but anyway, and or 200 perhaps. So that would be friends and family perhaps. That's where 5,000 comes from. But anyway, the move is to design to straighten NATO's eastern flank in aftermath of Russia. So okay, let's not get political, but overall, that's massive purchase. The agreement is on acquisition of Leopard 2 tanks in the largest military contract in the history of Lithuania in terms of finances. So I thought it might be important to cover, which perhaps there might be better decisions that could be made when it comes to different equipment that might be more important, since entire strategy and tactics most likely are moving to different strategy compared to, but I do understand. But anyway, let's keep name was quoted in a statement related to her ministry. This is a critically important stage in the modernization. I don't want to do this voice, but anyway, this is a critically important stage in the modernization of our military and all, strengthening regional security. These tanks will open up opportunities to strengthen integrity and interoperability of Lithuanian or German armed forces. They need to ask for access to technology so they can manufacture this kind of technology and or spare parts themselves. But anyway, the value of this forthcoming acquisition was not disclosed by Lithuania's minister. Just by weight, it was massive. But anyway, as well as delivery might be 2 years or 3 years to deliver this kind of order. But once that had been said, let's keep without names, was appointed her posting minister. Cabinet followed Lithuania's October 27 general election. The vote was won by Lithuania Social. Okay. For which she also lawmaker shortly before the election. She stayed defense council, Lithuania's top defense minister making body. I hope they have consultation with someone from different backgrounds. So there might be committee which had advised if that's a good decision. Since we're taking a look at one of the largest military contracts, right? Let's progress. There might be some statements, but anyway, that would be overall who are manufacturers. So that would be manufacturers by Kia and DC and OBay systems. Again, so they would need to have access to all the technology. That would be software, most like the hardware, and to have all the training, all the standards, and all of a sudden they in for all the personnel to be trained against all the standards that not necessarily themselves they would have capabilities of, as well as so that would be continuous purchase of that equipment. So I don't know if this is some of the leadership and some of the decisions being made. I guess great. Let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next month.